Hello everyone, this is Lynn Wiltzius, also known as Love to Cross Stitch. I've been doing embroidery and all kinds of stuff for a very long time actually. Today I'm going to talk about my embroidery work because I haven't done a lot of cross stitch, so I'm not part of the floss tube that I was a couple of years ago. Partly because I have been doing beading and embroidery and cross stitches in there, but not as much as it was, 3 years ago. So I'm going to show you how much fun and how much enjoyment I get out of my embroidery work. I am a member of the BDEIG, Brazilian Dimensional Embroidery International Group. And you can find them on bdeig.org. I believe it's org. I don't think it's .com. So anyway, in doing that, I want to show you the difference, sort of what Brazilian embroidery is and the dimensional part of it. I have been doing this for about 6 years now, I think. Maybe 7. Been a while. We have a group here in our area, and so we meet quite a bit. Brazilian embroidery is more of the rayon threads, so they're Edmar threads, which is what this is right here. So these are the different threads, and actually this is part of, let me see if I can find it, this piece. And I'm not quite done. I found that I'm a little irritated with the way my flowers came out on right here. They're light colored, but anyway, I have like 2 different ones, and I may end up taking those out and just starting with a whole new floss and finish it. And that's about all I need to do to finish this piece. It's pretty big, actually. So it's fun to do. And when you're just sitting around, it's easy enough. Like here, it's not attached. That piece is not attached. And then you've got the flowers here. They're just loops. So Brazilian embroidery is more of the dimensional. And this piece was done by Ruth Griffith Designs, and she's got some really pretty designs actually. So this was Ruth's pattern, and I believe that might actually be a farewell to Ruth is what this one is. I think that was the last piece that she did or something. I know I'm doing a farewell to Ruth, and that might be the piece. So I also take classes. We do virtual classes. They're quarterly. So unfortunately, we were supposed to be scheduled for a seminar this year, but under the circumstances, it wound up being a virtual seminar. I probably won't be attending because I have enough stuff with the virtual that I'm doing now that I don't need to add more to it. And there's other reasons too. If I'm going to go to a seminar, I want to be there in person. I want to see you face to face, and I want to talk to you about the different things that you do. So that's part of my reason for not attending this particular seminar, because it's virtual. And they had a virtual, I believe, last year too. No, maybe it wasn't last year, but it was a year before. We did have one virtual seminar before. Apparently there was a good turnout and they were happy with it. And so I think a couple of people kind of wanted to go to the virtual seminar to get more people to go. Well, Brazilian embroidery is pretty much the Pacific Northwest area. Not a lot of people in other places other than Debbie Goff. Debbie Goff teaches down in Florida. So she's got a group down there, and there's some in Texas, and there might even be one in Denver. But there's not a lot compared to what there is here, because Washington and Oregon have most of the people that do Brazilian embroidery. And part of that is because Virginia Chapman, who started this organization 30 years ago, is actually from the Pacific Northwest. So she started it in Portland, actually. So it's a Portland organization. And seminars have gone, they used to be in Yakima, then they moved it to Portland. And they were in Portland at one of the universities for a good 10, 15 years before the university shut down, and that was right around when COVID hit. So there's a lot of trouble trying to find where we can set up another seminar, and we're looking for universities that are willing to have us in June. And so I think that's part of the problem with the seminar, but that's another issue. So getting back to Brazilian embroidery, this is one of the classes I'm taking. It's Loretta Holtzberger's design and her class, and I love taking her classes. Anyway, we are working on, let's see if I can find it. Oh, here we go. So today was getting this part done. So now that I've got this, I'm going back over my stem, and I'm wrapping it so that it'll look a little thicker. And I do like the way it's done, because this part right here I did wrap. Right here was wrapped. The rest of it I need to wrap, and I will get that done. And then I'm going to do the leaves, and I'm going to do the leaves in a different way than what I'm used to. So this is a class well worth taking. Okay, so then I also took another class from Debbie Goff, and I've taken a lot of her classes because I like her designs. So she was teaching this class, okay, the Sweetheart Orchid. And I only did, what I like about her classes is that she'll have a little sample piece that's about this big compared to the big piece, okay? And we work on that because a lot of people don't want to start their designs or work on their design first. They want to be able to practice the stitching. So I've been working on the little piece. Let's see if I can find it. I might have it in here. But I have been working on my petals. And yep. So we get a little sample piece like this, and then she shows us how to work it. So I was working it, and I like it, and this is such a little piece that it could be a piece all by itself. So I may just go ahead and work it and finish it and have a sample piece to go with this piece when I do. Mine is going to be in cream, not black. My husband didn't like the black, so we're going to go with the cream. Okay, so, yep, it was Ruth's Farewell. There's that pattern. I like when you take a class, you get these kind of things, and it makes it easier to leaf through the pattern. Last year, I worked on, I'm going to be jumping here because I tend to do that. That's part of what I do with embroidery, quilting, cross stitch, you name it, I do it. I go from one place to the other. I'm a beater too, so this is I gotta think about it. Delicate Treasures is what it's called, and it is one of the Mille Flori designs. So, and I'm not sure who did this one. It could be Virginia Chapman. It could be Rosalie Wakefield. Chances are this is a Rosalie Wakefield piece. Okay, so as you see, these stand out. So that's a finished piece. Here's another finished piece that I've done. It's by an Australian. That's the Blackberry Lane patterns, and they are gorgeous. I love her work. I just wish I had her name right here. I don't, but I finished this piece as well. And this is pretty much like a beginner piece where you learn the different techniques. And what I find with Brazilian embroidery is that each teacher has their own terminology. So you have to tend to, some patterns are a pain in the butt to try to figure out. Sorry, but they are. And other patterns are so slick and easy. It's like, I like Debbie Kelly's and Debbie Goff's. They make more sense to me when I'm working on a piece. And part of that is because of my dyslexia. So it's easier to work with. And so on the pieces that I'm working with, I get my colors all together. And so like this one, these colors go with this one, which, ooh, excuse me, I keep smacking things, which is the Sweet Orchid. So those are the colors that are with that, and I keep them on a ring so I can keep them dangling and ready to go. My Ruth's Farewell, that's all of these right here. And then my class that I'm taking today, which I do like, is that there's not a lot of floss that you need. So these are basically the colors that I'm going to use. I decided instead of the red that she has for the, whatchamacallit, the Tiger Lily, I'm going to do it in yellow. And it's a variegated yellow. So I'm going to work on that. And next week we are actually going to do the flowers, because this part and the leaves right here, they're going to be done by my next class next week. So another one I'm working on is the Bonsai Tree by Debbie Goff. So here it is. And if you notice, the bonsai tree is sticking out a little bit. So those are some of my Brazilian embroidery things. And Brazilian embroidery is fun. It's enjoyable. It's relaxing. I tend to work on this when I have the group meeting. And it's kind of funny because sometimes I'm only doing it on a Monday when we have our meeting. Or I'll be doing it at a doctor's office, and I sit there and I work on that while I'm waiting on, while you're waiting for your appointment, or when my husband's in his appointment, excuse me, and I just sit out in the waiting room and wait. Instead of dinking around with my phone or whatever, I pull out my embroidery and I work on it. And one of the things I need to get back to is this tablecloth that my grandmother started back in the 1970s. She didn't have a lot done on it. And so over the years, I've been putting in a few stitches from time to time. So I'm working on the side right now, but there's a corner. And this is what I do. I mean, excuse me, I enjoy handwork, and it amazes me today that I can't get my daughter to enjoy the things I enjoy, which is fine. That's fine. The hard part for me is that I'm like a 6th generation of people who have done quilting, knitting, crocheting, embroidery. I mean, all of those things were passed down through generations. I'm the only daughter in my family. I have a daughter, not had. No, she's still with me. I have a daughter, and she's a wonderful daughter. But she does other things that keep her happy. She's more into the art stuff than I am. I like art. My son does a lot of art, which is gorgeous work. And he sold some of his artwork. So they have gone that direction. And so I don't have someone to pass on my talents because my nieces are not around. My nephews are not around. I don't have family around here to be able to pass it on. So in some ways, it's going to die when I die. Unless my daughter can remember the things that I did or what I showed her. I know that she knows how to quilt, so I'm happy about that. Knitting and crocheting, I don't think she really had a niche for that. I tried to teach her, but that didn't work. Embroidery, I never really showed her or had much to do with it because at that time I was more into quilting. So this is a dying art. And I think that it's time that we try to show today's generation that there are beautiful things that you can make with your own hands than there is to go and buy something that's only going to last a short amount of time. And then you have to go buy another one because, ooh, it broke or it ripped, Yeah, our work can rip, but we can go back and repair it because we know how to do it. People don't know how to repair things. We have things that, in all actuality, should have lasted years and now only last 2 to 3 years before you have to get a new one. And so we have so much trash, it's not funny. But embroidery, any of the handwork that we do is done with love. 99% of the time. We love what we're doing. We make it. We get it done. And then we either pass it on to someone else or we stick it on our walls, which I do. And, or it goes into a drawer hoping that someone in the family might want it. But today's thing is that they want to be to the point where there's nothing, you don't have knickknacks, you don't have, so a lot of the old stuff that was sent down through generations is going to get lost in that generation, in those generations that have come through, because I have things that were my 3rd great-grandmother's, and now I have a family that doesn't want them. So at that point, you just kind of look at it and say, that's life. I accept that. But in my mind, I'm thinking, what a loss that is, because it's going away. And maybe somewhere in the future, somebody's going to say, I really like that. I wonder how that was done. Hopefully YouTube will still be out there and then go back and say, oh, here, they showed me how to do it. But, so I'm just putting out there, this is embroidery. It's so much fun. Come and learn. And I will put our group down below where you can go check out the website. I'm sorry, it's not user friendly, but the website is a good site. Check it out. And hopefully I will see you at some seminar that we have in the future. Take care.